grandeur and gloom, the Belgrave's legacy. The Belgrave Hotel stood as a monument to a forgotten era. Its opulent facade hinted at a history steeped in both grandeur and gloom. Built in the 1920s, the hotel had seen it all: lavish parties, hushed business deals and whispered tales of tragedy. Some whispered that the Belgrave held secrets hidden within its Art Deco walls and beneath its crystal chandeliers. These whispers spoke of a darkness that lingered, a stain on the hotel's soul. Over the years, the Belgrave had become more than just a place to stay. It was an experience. Guests came from far and wide, drawn by its reputation and its mysterious allure. They came seeking luxury, unaware of the shadows that danced at the edges of their vision. Little did they know that the Belgrave held a secret, a truth far more terrifying than any rumour. This secret slept, hidden from view, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. A tale of two experiences, luxury versus terror. Most nights, the Belgrave lived up to its reputation for elegance. Guests enjoyed impeccable service, dined on exquisite cuisine, and slept soundly in luxurious rooms. Laughter echoed through the halls, and the clinking of champagne glasses filled the air. But on certain nights, the very air within the Belgrave grew heavy with dread. A palpable tension settled over the opulent lobby, sending chills down the spines of unsuspecting guests. The change was subtle at first. A flickering light, a draught of cold air, a feeling of being watched. Then the whispers started. Stories of strange occurrences, of disembodied voices and shadowy figures flitting past in the corner of the eye. These whispers hinted at a darker side to the Belgrave, a side that only revealed itself during the most violent storms. The storm unveils a secret. The 13th floor appears. It always began with a storm. As thunder roared and lightning split the sky, a strange occurrence would take place within the Belgrave, the appearance of the 13th floor. This elusive floor never appeared on any hotel map, its existence known only through whispered tales and the first-hand accounts of terrified guests. The storm raged, mirroring the turmoil brewing within the Belgrave. On these stormy nights, the elevator, typically a bastion of smooth transit, would shudder and groan, its brass cage rattling as it climbed. If a guest found themselves alone in the elevator during such a tempest, they might feel it, a sudden jolt, a shift in gravity, and then the realization that the elevator had ascended beyond the 12th floor. They had arrived at the 13th. Whispers in the void, trapped in a timeless hallway. Stepping off the elevator onto the 13th floor was like stepping into another dimension. The air grew thick and stagnant, heavy with the scent of dust and decay. The opulent carpets of the lower floors were replaced with threadbare rugs, and the air, once filled with the sound of life, was now eerily silent. The hallway stretched endlessly in either direction, illuminated by flickering gaslight that cast long, dancing shadows. There was a sense of being trapped, of time standing still. Clocks on the walls were frozen, their hands pointing to a random, meaningless time. Paintings adorned the walls, but the people in the portraits had no faces, their features replaced with unsettling blank canvases. Doors lined the hallway, each one identical to the next, each one promising something sinister within. Room 313, where shadows dance and time stands still. At the far end of the hallway, bathed in an unnatural green glow, lay room 313. The door, unlike the others, was ajar, beckoning guests with its eerie luminescence. The faint sound of music could be heard emanating from within, a melancholic waltz from a bygone era. It was a siren's call, drawing the curious and the foolish closer to its moor. Those who dared to peek inside room 313 were met with a scene frozen in time. Furniture stood perfectly arranged, a gramophone played its haunting melody, and two figures danced in the centre of the room, their backs to the door. Yet there was an unsettling stillness to the scene, an unnerving stillness that spoke of something deeply wrong. The phone's shriek, a voice from beyond the grave. The eerie silence of the 13th floor was often shattered by the shrill ringing of a telephone. It could be heard throughout the hallway, emanating from seemingly nowhere and everywhere at once. The sound was jarring, piercing the silence like a scream in the night. It was a call from beyond, a ghostly summons that sent shivers down the spine. Picking up the phone was an invitation to madness. A voice, raspy and filled with static, would whisper on the other end, speaking of forgotten tragedies and offering glimpses into the darkest secrets of the listener's soul. The voice promised knowledge, but its whispers drove men mad, leaving them haunted by the things they had heard. Escaping the abyss, a desperate flight to reality. Those fortunate enough to find their way back to the elevator often did so in a state of sheer terror. The hallway seemed to stretch on forever, the exit always just out of reach. The echoes of the ringing phone and the haunting waltz from room 313 followed them, clinging to their minds like a curse. The 13th floor was a labyrinth designed to trap the unwary. The relief of reaching the elevator was often short-lived. As the elevator descended, it would once again jolt violently, the lights flickering ominously. Upon reaching their own floor, guests would stumble out, desperate to escape the nightmare of the 13th floor. But they soon realized that escape from the Belgrave was never truly possible. The living ghosts marked by an unseen presence. Those who returned from the 13th floor were forever changed. They carried with them an aura of unease, a palpable sense of something being off. Their eyes, once full of life, now held a haunted, distant look. They moved through the world like ghosts, their presence unsettling to those around them. The most chilling consequence of their encounter with the 13th floor was their lack of reflection. It was as if a part of their soul had been left behind in that timeless hallway, stolen by the shadows that resided there. They became living ghosts, forever tied to the Belgrave and its terrifying secrets. The Belgrave's grip, forever haunted by room 313, the Belgrave Hotel stood tall and proud, its secrets safely locked away within its walls. The storm outside subsided, the 13th floor vanished once more, leaving no trace of its existence. Yet the memory of that night, of the ringing phone and the haunting waltz from room 313, would forever linger in the minds of those who had experienced it. The Belgrave would continue to draw guests in, its allure as potent as ever. Some would experience only luxury and comfort, while others would find themselves forever marked by the terrors that lurked within. For the Belgrave was more than just a hotel. It was a living entity, a collector of souls, and those who dared to visit risked becoming another one of its secrets.